And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BYLD Varsity, which is, we are positioning ourselves as, leading partner in learning and development. And therefore, as part of our initiative to be a prominent partner with organization, individuals, and even freelance trainers in the country, what we have created is a series of what we call as educational experiences, which will make an investment from our side free of cost into our clients, existing, potential, new, and from that point of view. This initiative is headed by Ronald Soames, who you can see on the screen, who's sitting in a virtual office and managing things virtually. I sit out of Gurgaon, and my name is Sandeep Budhiraja, and we belong to a group called as BYLD Group, as you can see on your screens, which is one of the largest groups in South Asian region and in various domains of business consulting, HR, leadership, training, development, coaching, and ICF certification also. These are some of the brands that you can see on the screen that we represent in the country. We represent almost 14 leading global brands in India as we talk about it. Double check, Ron. We'll be looking at the chat box. So in case you have any
message, I'm doing that.
Yeah, any message, any comment, please feel free to put it there. Ron will synthesize that for me and will relay it back to as we, for purpose of facilitation. So a little more of advertisement. We are, been operating in the country actually for more than almost 20 years. More than 1,200 clients, hundreds of facilitators, presence is almost every sector which we can think of as we go. Right. So keeping that in mind, let's come to the learning objectives. We have a full program on advanced facilitation skills. So when we talk about advanced facilitation skill, let me explain what does it mean in our language. It is less about training. Okay, it is more of OD, it is more of design, it is more of sustainable learning and creating learning paths which have a clear strategic linkage. That is what we are talking about advanced facilitation skills. So we have a basic program, which is the foundational program, where we talk about virtual deliveries, the skills you need to basically have to deliver virtually and so on and so forth, and which are the various platforms which you can do that. But here we are talking about integration. Here we are talking about sustainability and enabling organization in the new normal. So this is what we are talking about when we talk about basically advanced facilitation skills. Learning goals, therefore, is how do we render content on online platforms, both synchronous as well as asynchronous content. Synchronous content is like right now, you can see we are in sync. Now we are together in a virtual room, and asynchronous can involve e-learning, micro-learning, okay, Google Classrooms, Teamy-based systems, and so on and so forth. Okay. Then doing training need analysis for large target groups. Okay, making sure that we are razor sharp and focused on basically group development agendas as compared to buying training programs, and create and render self-assessment assessments and inventories, because in the new normal, one of the things which will become very important and critical is the tangibility of any initiative that we are doing. Okay, and therefore we must have some degree of understanding and maybe even create our own inventories and self-assessments, which can help us to basically create a tangibility of behavior change, which we are actually trying to achieve through these programs. Then labs are more important, like you say, and you are going to experience the lab today. What are labs? Labs can be created online, like you will experience which is one of the key takeaways of today's 1 hour session. And labs allow for social learning. Labs allow for discovery learning. Labs allow for cohort learning. So these are the three things which go into a lab-based learning. and they're relatively easy to create and fairly easy to manage, provided we understand the nuts and bolts of the lab-based system. And even our full program is a lab-based program. So you come and do things. You learn by doing rather than me trying to tell you this is right, this is wrong, and so on. So, okay, and you will discover what we call as discovery learning and social learning. Last is managing and scaling the learning to support the strategic intent. Uh, no more. Okay, like HR is going to play a critical role and a fulcrum in the new normal. Similarly, I believe L&D initiatives are going to be the key and critical in creating organizational success today. Creating capability, managing capability gaps which exist at every level in the organization. That could be a leadership gap, that could be a functional training gap or skill set gap, and doing it in a way which is sustainable, cost effective, tangible is the new challenge which L&D people and HR people and even the people who are giving these services to their clients have to manage. Okay, so and this program is therefore comes with a diploma attached from BYLD Varsity. Okay, it's a full 3 week long program where the training is only 6 hours, but there are action learning projects and there is synchronous and asynchronous learning which is deployed in the process, which I'll talk towards the end in the process. So the goal of today's educational experience is to give you an overview of what is the entire diploma all about of advanced facilitation skill. We will look at revisiting content design for online instruction because that's a critical piece. Training need analysis, how can we do it in an efficacious and a good way? And labs can be designed, created, implemented for creating a sustainable journeys and learning paths. And also each one of you who's today on the program, you'll be sent a post experience assessment to find out where you are on each one of these areas. And that assessment will allow you to, experience the gap between where you are and where you could be and take a decision if you want to take the next step or not. So this is basically, walking the path or walking the talk, as we can call it, in terms of giving you that experience as we go forward. And during the journey, the beauty of these discovery learning lab-based systems is that the learning has to be will come from the participants. Of course, I will add my 2 bits and value to the entire learning process. But we will only provide the structure where you will basically be able to access, and apply your mind to that structure and find your own solutions. Okay. Before we get into that, I would like to conduct a small poll so that we can find a way to make it more relevant, this particular learning session to you and to the group. So the first poll, which I'm sure you can see on the screen, Ronald, can you confirm?
Yeah,
that?
it is visible.
Yeah. So it starts with I dash 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 have created content for online program. I have a fair idea about micro learning. Okay, I'm aware how to create learning journeys. I'm able to use different tools to ensure transparency and practice. So the goal is to find out which is the most prominent of the skills out of the 4, which is in this one. So make a choice, and
it's a single option. It's not
single option. It is a single option. So we are trying to find out what doing a strength and a gap analysis quickly for the group. Okay, using a polling system. Okay, so we are ending the polling. Let's see where the group starts. We have about 60, 70 odd results. You can see them on the skill. So the group, when I'm looking at this today, has a good experience in creating online content. Okay, has the least experience about creating learning journeys. Okay, and is fairly, or let's say a little more in terms of fair idea of micro learning, and also basically use different tools for transference and practice. So thanks for sharing that, and we will I'll try to make it as focused on both strength, gap, and the need of the group.
Yeah, Sandeep, there is a comment that you should have allowed multiple options because we do several things.
I know, true. So next time we'll do that. Absolutely. Thanks. So before we get into any lab, we must define what a lab is. It is based on guided discovery learning. Now, what is guided discovery learning? Because nothing is open-ended in a sense. Like in a lab, instructor will tell you that today we are going to learn how acids and base react. And of course, we can have accidents while we do those experiments in lab, which I'm sure most of us had fun with when we were in class 11, 12. Okay, and if you are a science student, okay, or some experience of lab everyone has in the path as we look at it. So, what is social learning? And we use hands-on, application-based, and allows for transfer. It has an area of application. So this is what a lab is all about. Lab basically helps us learn by doing things and maybe make a couple of mistakes. But mistakes are good learning process. At least we figure out that what is it that we don't want to do or should not do in the process. So this is exactly what it is, but it has structure. It has a takeaway. It has a clear transference. It has a goal in the process as we go forward. So that's what we are also going to do as we get into the labs. So what is the learning loop for the advanced facilitation skills program? So we learn in the lab, we learn through each other, which is the social learning. We then basically immediately after the 2-hour module, there is an action learning on the job transference, and there is a mentor program which is kicked in where you get access to mentors who are basically well versed in this particular domain. They will have access through a tool called Google Classroom where you will experience asynchronous learning, assessments, transference, etc., etc. So all that is built into the learning loop of this particular facilitation skills program. So, like I said, there are 3 things. There is a design element, like we said, that's a very important part of it, how we design. The second element is training need analysis, which are the tools, how do we triangulate, etc., etc., how we do that, which we will just touch upon but not go into detail because of the time limitation. And last is basically the learning journeys and paths, which is also we are just going to introduce and touch upon, but not go into details because of the process. So we will be looking at design in the process path, design principle today. How do we create a lab and how do we experience a lab in a real life learning? So to do that, what we are going to do is you will be put into cohorts, okay, in a moment. And you will be basically, you have been sent the case study. Ronald is uploading the case study at this point in time in the chat box. So those who did not get a chance to, download the case study into your system, you can do that from your chat box right away. Okay. And in case you have any challenges, do refer to that. So everyone should have their own copy of the case study, which we either sent in advance at 3 p.m. today. It should be there in your mailbox. If not, then we have also uploaded in the chat box. You can download it from there. And when the message will flash, you will be required to go into the room. There will be 7 to 8 people in the room. Okay. Do not spend too much time on introducing yourself. Just say your name, hi, this, that, and so on and so forth. And then get started on the process. So case studies has a clear outcome. The questions are outlined on page number 2 of the case study. And your job as the team is to come up with the answers. And you will be assigned an industry in the context in which you will attempt this particular case study. I will be numbering the cohorts, and each cohort which is being numbered, okay, will also get a chance to basically, look at the, you'll be doing that designing or exercising, and basically cohorts. Sumit is about working in groups. Okay, so a group of 7 to 8 people is a cohort. Okay. as we look at it. And, you'll be working as a team for this thing. And you'll be given 15 minutes. So I'll try not to, monopolize the time. Okay. There is a very clear instruction given that what are the questions you have to answer. So answer those questions. Before you come back, okay, I will be sending a message, broadcasting a message to each of the cohorts that you have 1 minute left. When you share that message of 1 minute left, I need you to basically appoint one person in that cohort who will be the speaker and present it to the rest of the group. Okay. So my recommendation is that person takes notes based upon the group, and you will be making presentation to the larger. Don't have to do a PPT, but in case somebody is tech savvy and wants to use a PowerPoint presentation, I will make you a co-host for that moment, and you can do that. Okay, the rooms will reopen in 15 minutes, and we'll be asking you to present that. Okay, so let's basically look at creating breakouts for you. You'll be sent into the rooms automatically by the system. Okay. So we'll go one by one, this thing. And if you were able to go past the first two questions, credit to you. You are ready.
Okay, fine. So we lost
We'll
time.
start with the first cohort, which includes Gautam, Meenakshi, Sanjay, Tija, and Vasanti. Who's going there?
Sandeep.
Who's presenting?
Sandeep, we will nominate you as we were trying to get through the questions, Sandeep. Sandeep took us off from there. So there was no nomination also.
Okay. So we
are nominating either Sandeep or who else? Who was the other person? One more person was there.
Gautam.
I was jumping one room to another room. So I was
Gautam Gupta. Gautam Gupta.
Gautam, you take the lead. Go ahead. You have been nominated.
Unmute yourself, Gautam.
Gautam, you can unmute yourself. I've given
Hi, Sandeep. Hi. My challenge is I could not take notes while I was participating. I think Tija or Vasanti took the notes.
Yeah, speak from memory. It's okay.
Yeah, so we will give it to either Gautam or Sandeep to share.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sharing whatever I could gather there. Let me just go back to the questions then. What top 2-3 learning goals will you set for the target audience? I think primarily we have to focus on productivity and motivation. I think we have added one more goal given the current COVID situation. So it's just not about productivity increase. It's also about managing the motivations. And while managing the motivations, we build on the skills, which is knowledge of product, process, and the soft skill part. So there are, I think, two goals we have. One is focusing on motivation part. Second is product and process knowledge, enhancing that, which will probably ensure that we are able to increase productivity of the people at the manufacturing organization. Okay. So what do we propose at duration of the learning journey? I think we propose a 6-month journey for this year. Unlike probably like last year where we would have finished in about 2 months. This year, because of the current situation, we are proposing, because there are certain milestones we have worked upon, which will probably continue till about December. Yeah. Now, what are the key milestones for the journey? I think the first milestone is to have the training in need analysis through both focus group discussion and one-to-one, plus a pre-assessment. Now, this year we're going to be utilizing the LMS very extensively because of the situation, we cannot have face-to-face. So we will enable and enhance and look at the various capabilities of the LMS. So we will use pre-assessment. We will use pre-assessment through the LMS, because LMS can be broadcast to all the participants. They have access to it. So we will use the LMS for TNI as well as to do a pre-assessment of the capability. So there'll be a knowledge test of product process as well as a behavioral skill levels, assessment also to know where they are. Once you've got this, then the next milestone would be to develop content around it, which will be for product, process, and behavioral and soft skill. So that's the second milestone. So lot of product and process and behavioral e-learning content and video content will be created, which are small bite size, will be uploaded on the LMS for broadcasting and for learning, which will include the assessments also. Along with that, we have a two-pronged strategy for the virtual learning. We utilize the 3 trainers internally who will be upskilled on the virtual way to how to teach, how to train, and they will take up a lot of product process and some part of the behavioral skill training also. We've also decided that we'll also hire, since the budgets are cut nearly 50%, that is why we are using the existing system. Plus, of course, if we have a budget, then we will hire an external vendor for the behavioral and soft skill part to be conducted for these 200 target managers. We will identify based on the pre-assessment and the TNI, we'll identify those areas. And since it is going to be virtual classes, we can possibly, the batch size of 20, 25, we can cover it. Every topic can be covered in about every month, starting from the 3rd month. So we are assuming July, August, September, we will TNI and pre-assessment and content. And October, November, December is when we do the virtual classes through internal trainers as well as the external trainers.
Gautam, I need to come in because we'll have a 2-minute time limit because we have 11 codes to cover. Now, how do we know, are we on the right track? Okay. Here is the matrix that you use to test whether your design is effective in the new normal. Okay. I'm sharing with you the matrix that you can easily apply to find out whether your thinking is in sync with the case study and the parameters of the case study. Okay, so are you creating a path or a learning journey which basically is just in time, just enough, and just for me? 3 just in time, just for me, and just enough. Because remember, there has been some training which on the similar topics which have happened previously. And let me tell you, we are living in a world which is going to be very saturated with these sessions, and people hate webinars. Webinars will become. Remember, there came a time 2 to 3 years ago, death by PowerPoint. Now the new term is death by webinars. Okay. So we need to have an immersive experience for our learning audiences. The design must address these 3. And especially when we are looking at frontline and direct reports of the frontline, their DRs will become more important. So good thinking. Let's take out room 2. Now I've given you the parameters by which you will judge.
Gautam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam.
Thanks.
You will judge the design. Go ahead. Cap, you can refer to cohort 1 saying these points are similar, these are different. It'll become, and try to do it in 2 minutes. Cohort 2, which is Captain, Irene, Pooja.
While they are waiting, Sandeep, just want to add that we had also
Sorry?
I was just saying, while they are coming up, we also thought about this one thing about the just for me. I think I forgot to mention that.
Just for me is customized to me, and therefore you'll have to think about coaching, mentoring, which is internally driven, not externally. It will not be sustainable if you think of hiring 10 coaches for the cohort.
I think while your team 2 is not coming, I think team 3 can do that.
Okay, team 3, go ahead.
Okay, so
team 2, I don't know what happened.
So team 3.
I love the presentation. Good stuff.
So just a quick glimpse, that was the understanding with line manager 1, who is monitoring 5 line managers and each of them having 40 first liners there. Couldn't design much, but we'll quickly go by questions. What top 2-3 goals you would want to set for your target audience? I think since it was set the same last year, and that's the whole thing, we've just picked up from there that, okay, if we have to relook at the same way, but possibly change the methodology of doing it for the people is first thing. That's what we've got it there.
I'll just add coaching skills to that.
Sure. Okay.
Coaching. Capability building means coaching.
Okay. Then the second one was, what do you propose as a duration? Now, duration is something we will discuss in terms of, you want to do it in 3 weeks, 3 months. It's completely up to the organization, but as a part of it, and we're going VLT, We are saying we would do pre-work, and those pre-work will be 2 sessions, which will be one with the management, one with the direct reportee, which will be all virtual, and maybe capturing of the data using online service. That's the first part. Implementation part is the delivery part, where we would possibly use 3 or 4 sessions, which are our competencies that we are talking about. Each competency would be followed by 3 team reviews. So not a single review right now, but as you said, coaching. So yes, a team coaching or a team review, because it's budgeted and it's not individual, it's a frontline supervisors or the level of team. And the fourth would be the internal monitoring. So here we've made the line managers responsible, who would be responsible for regular monitoring of the people. Again, keeping in mind the budgets, that they cannot hire an external company. So the line managers are the best people. What we would do is we would possibly have written 3 weekly connect, not 3 weekly means, sorry, I meant is, if we are doing those 3 sessions, तो उनका भी review जैसे चल रहा है, हम भी वैसे ही weekly or fortnightly we'll connect with those people to see if they are facing any challenge, and probably we will support and handhold these line managers to do monitoring on our behalf for these people. The next one was what will be the key milestones. So key milestones are जो हमारी goals हैं, उन्हीं को key milestones में रख रहे हैं. Monitoring of short term goals, surveys, and short productivity.
Sumit, we have a lot of audiences from South, so a request.
Oh, sorry. I'll keep it in English, guys. I'm sorry. So we've kept, what will be the key milestones? So we're just saying monitoring of the short-term goals, because the smaller goals, it's a sense of achievement. People will feel good. Surveys on regular basis, and short productivity, which is when the company says what is the productivity is increased. So we'll also keep those short productivity increments, maybe of, let's say, 1,000 rupees or maybe 5,000 rupees more, or 5,000 crores, whatever the number we want to talk on. The next one was what will be the assessment strategy. So pre-survey, post-survey, and performance goals. Who will play what role? So we are saying you, which means if I'm the individual, I'll be the project manager overall. My trainers will be the knowledge development guys who are going to download the knowledge. My second line team, which is the second line manager, who are their line managers, are the people who will do the skill impartment, because they are the people present along with them on the floor. So they'll be the people who are monitoring their knowledge implementation.
The beautiful thing is you are taking a project management approach. This is extremely good thinking, because then you create a framework.
Yeah,
great job done to your team.
The direct reports are the feedback from the direct audience over there.
Yeah.
And the last one is what tools you plan to use to sustain cost development and learning ease. So we said online surveys we'll use for pre and post and research work, virtual platform for training. We will not use a WhatsApp group. We would prefer to use a Telegram group, because we can post videos on it. So whatever they've done in a virtual program, we can straight away post the entire video for people to review, because that will be over there. It will continue to be on a cloud. This thing, we will use regular polls over it, because you can use polls on Telegram and similar stuff, and vice versa. The line managers to post their, sorry, these are line managers, I meant the supervisors here. Supervisors along with the learning will continuously post their updates and the challenges on the Telegram group. And we want to recommend them to regularly shoot at least one weekly video with their teams. And that's just a sense of ownership that my team is doing a great job. And when one team starts sharing, the other team comes in a competitive format. And that's where each other can motivate people. And also what's in for me kind of stuff. So we'll have whatever the learning we've done, we'll do a monthly quiz challenge to see who has earned how many points and scores. And we can put it like a score portion. And for regular assessment, assignment. I'm done. That's the last one. So assessment and regular assignment, you use a Google Classroom, which is a preset format where you feed in everything into the system. It will take care of it. That's it.
I think congratulations. Already I could see a depth which is I normally don't encounter. My 2-bit to team 3 or the cohort 3 would be best way to use all this would be to put it on a time scale. What happens when, and you will get a beautiful project, okay, with a goal very clearly. And that's a great example of a good strategy. And integrating, what I like about your strategy is it is low cost and effective, which is one of the mandates of the organization. And it uses all the social tools and of social learning, okay, and creates a positive, competitive engagement strategy, which goes beyond just attending webinars. And great job done. Let me say that.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to take one more cohort who can bring in some fresh perspective. You can volunteer, or then I will.
Can I go?
Number six, please.
Number 5, can I go? Sorry.
Number 5, Ashok, you are there, and then I'll
Yeah,
give a chance
yeah.
to number 6.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. So can I go, or he 6 has to
So
go?
Ashok goes, number 5.
Okay, I'm going to express something which may not have been discussed in the team due to shortage of time. Pardon me, my colleagues in my team. So here is a training need for 200 frontline people with a low budget to improve the engagement and the motivation of direct reportees. And there are 3 levels of people. One is direct report, the frontline, and the people above the frontline. So the team had 5 minutes time to discuss that 3 areas. One is transfer of job knowledge to the people direct reports, mentoring of direct reports, and leadership from the frontline. So now with all this JIT, JFM, and JEE, I would go for a technology-based solution for the technical-based training supported by OJT on the job. Now, technology-based, I would hire a vendor, get a ready-made off-the-shelf pharma-based training programs where the frontline learn the knowledge part of it, how to transfer it, and on the job, I would go. But for the leadership and mentoring, I would use the higher level, their bosses on a 1:1 coaching model. Again, through app-driven planning, but face-to-face execution of coaching, so that they get the leadership skills and the mentoring skills.
So quick
Now,
check,
as far as the
Ashok,
direct
in your
report
strategy, are you going to equip second line managers with coaching skills?
yes, the
Is it
first
there as
is
part of your strategy?
no, yeah. First is they need to be coached, and then in turn it's TTT approach.
Okay.
So they need to be coached to do the direct reportees by their seniors. So it's a two-level TTTs.
And that's a good one. You actually don't. If you're going at one level above, you don't need to do it.
It's a blended approach. So it's a blended approach of automation, this thing, and for the direct reportees, it is going to be a skill-based, app-based, different levels of training based on artificial intelligence, whatever it is, machine learning or whatever it is.
I love the strategy, Ashok. I think that brings us what is the hallmark or the beauty of your team strategy is the simplicity, okay, and scalability. These two are the key ingredients which I can see in what you're saying. What you need to do is also create, you've also created human contact learning transfer through using second line to coach the front line. That's a great ingredient, and it is sustainable. Okay, but somewhere you'll have to engage with second line more in order to sustain this initiative. So you'll have to think through that part a little more. But it's a great fresh perspective. I love it. Okay, thanks Ashok for bringing in. That is cohort 5. Okay.
Six come in now, please.
So much.
Yes.
Hi. So Aditya sir, in this side, first of all, my apologies, everyone. We don't have a PowerPoint to share with you because we're still grappling with the exact training need of this organization. The statement says low engagement and motivation of frontline people, DRs, impacting performance and productivity. While I'm extremely happy as a group also that I'm seeing a lot of people who've reached technical coaching, mentoring, telegrams and telegraphs, etc. But I want to understand, and our group wants to understand, what exactly is the training need? Where is this problem coming from? Where is this low motivation and low engagement coming from? Because if we don't understand that, no matter what strategies we make, even if we send them to an IIM Ahmedabad, or we do coaching, or we do a LMS, or we hire a consultant, unless we know where are we going, anyone can take us there, or no one can take us there. So our group suggested that we will have a needs assessment first to speak with some groups and individuals of the DRs, the managers and the reviewers to understand where is this problem coming from. Good. Once they understand that is only when I can respond to you with a PowerPoint slide, and that is due on me for the next session. So right now, it's only an assessment to understand where the problem is coming from. to understand what is the pain point. Because if you also see, they've also done these programs on, you know, the aspects of goal setting, coaching, feedback, review, motivation. None of them has worked. The stakeholders still find the same feedback. Therefore, there's something you know, wrong, which I think either we've not diagnosed, and therefore giving crocin for stomach infection, giving crocin for you know, any other issues is easy. But I think we'd like to do some more you know, deep diving and then respond to you. Many thanks.
Sure. Thanks, Aditya. Yeah. Yeah. But it was not as black and white. We had enough data from past to take some assumptions. But I like the approach that you would like to diagnose first and prescribe then. I think that's a very good way to go forward. Okay. So the whole intent of basically doing this entire exercise was to help us look at, you know, what do we mean by lab-based learning. This is lab-based learning. So basically you saw people working in groups, people bringing their thinking in a structured manner. And if you create the labs effectively, okay, then probably then it's easy for us to go forward on the create an immersive experience. And this type of learning, what we do in the diploma that we are running on this one is, it's not just about listening to 5 people, 10 people on this one and say, okay, that's period. No, we'll say, great, you have done your thinking. Now go back to your organization or to your clients and show us the proof of the pudding. And that pudding will come in this template. We'll give you a template and you will bring that template to the next weekend and upload that into the Google Classroom for review with the mentor. And then when you come in there, there is a feedback and a critique which is already available so that you can do this implementation in real time. Because that's what the promise of lab-based facilitation is, advanced facilitation is, which means you learn something, you apply, you show me the proof of pudding, and then you come in for the next dessert or the next course. And that is how it needs to be done. Okay. So therein basically lies that, do we have all the tools which we need to do that? You know, do we have the mechanics to do that? How can we get in stakeholder buy-in, and so on and so forth. So there are 3 skills a good advanced facilitation, or as I call it, OD intervention will do. OD interventionist will have a clear idea about, like, I like what was said in the end, that we will first diagnose before we prescribe. So you need to know what is the training need analysis. So what we cover in the week 2 of this diploma is the context, competencies, and tools to find out, you know, what is the training needs of the target audience, of a team, of an organization, even going down to the individual level. So I need to basically have a context. Context comes from the organizational goals. Context comes from the strategic intent. Context comes from the change we want to bring in. That provides the context. Okay, so how do I bring the context in my TNA is a critical piece which I need to understand. And then I must understand, obviously, translate the context to competencies, which is what Sumit and team did fantastic. You know, the influencing, coaching, these are the skills which we need to do it. And then put a framework of tools to collect data before, during, after, ongoing, and to make sure that we are on that track as we look at it. And Ashok brought in a very nice perspective, Ashok and team, that these tools must integrate basically your competencies depending on the strategy I come up with or the design I come up with. Must, if you're going to use second line, which is a great way of creating a design, okay, the second line being used as a key leverage to create a coaching culture or a development culture or a learning culture, then I need to expand my repertoire of my tools to include them as part of the journey and get them to align to what I'm trying to do. And then create a learning path. Rightly said by the person, the learning path is the last output which I create, is basically where I look at the knowledge component. Now I can dissipate knowledge offline, online, social tools, Telegram, Google Classroom. Okay. I need to have a skill development. Skill development is different from basically knowledge dissipation. What will be the mechanism? Who will do it? Internal, external, internal capability building. What will be the proof of pudding concept? Action learning plans, application, alignment, and what will be the mentoring support? Okay, organizations should consider as part of their this thing. One of the biggest leverage to basically create low cost, sustainable business continuity processes is through mentoring. And that mentoring should be available to everyone in the organization. Okay, but if you are targeting a cohort of 200 managers, you need to have designated mentors available within the organization, which people can reach out to at any point they want. Okay, not when as a formal mentoring program. You don't have to do that. So you can have 10 people from the second line managers, or you can have subject-based mentors. Okay, for this knowledge, these are the 5 people who will be the mentor. Designate them. Use your LMS system or mechanisms or backbone of IT or whatever is available to say you can book a mentor call for 15-20 minutes whenever you want, depending on the mentor availability. Can you see, just in time, just for me, and just enough. If I want knowledge from a mentor within the organization, or let us say, quality circle. Now I need to basically, I'll go into my system, look for quality circle mentors. I find 5 people, I choose one, I send a message, I block the time, and depending on what is comfortable, we negotiate that. 15-minute session spread over 2 weeks, that's it. So forget that mentoring is a, year-long processes which we need to look at. So definitions have changed. And that's what we are trying to say is the design part of it. So the goal here was to give you an immersive experience about how the new normal of learning will be happening. Okay, how we can bring in the tools, how we can implement the tools. And that's what we do in our full 3-week course, which is going to happen on every Saturday with the applied learning process, where you will get to learn this entire process. So that was a short skill which we wanted to do. Use that. That's case study that we have sent to you. You can use it internally. Okay, as a goodwill gesture from our side. Okay, it is though it is copyrighted, but because you have been participating in our this thing, okay, we thought that's a value add we can do. So before you go, there is a small poll that you have on the screen. One, how well did we achieve the goals for our educational experience for 1 hour today? And second is, would you be interested in looking to explore 3 weeks diploma for advanced facilitation skills over the weekends, which will start on 4th, 11th and 18th for 2 hours each, 12 to 2 p.m. And by the way, whatever you choose, whatever your goal or whatever your input is, okay, you will still get, all of you will still get access to a post-assessment, okay, on the 3 competencies that we have touched upon, one and a little more in detail, okay, so that you can see where you stand on advanced facilitation skills, and that will help you actually ignite your thinking a little more than probably it might be. Okay, that is again pro bono. There is no cost attached to it. Get in touch with the person who brought you into today's session. That person will make that report available 24 hours within after you finish your assessment. So Ronald and his team will roll out that assessment tomorrow. Look into your email boxes through which you have registered, and you'll be able to access that as we go forward. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. The poll is open for some time. Looking forward for the next educational experience from BYLD Group DTCI division. Thank you very much. Okay, have a great day. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.